hope I'm not disturbing your breakfast.
You get up as early as I do. You're not still filling your face at this hour.
It's only 8:30.
Yes, I've got a couple of blankets out there. I've had this lot out by now if these hooks hadn't been so rusty.
I suppose you're wondering why I've called so early.
I expect you'll get round to it in time. Look, just shows you how damp it is round here. You wouldn't think these were new last spring, would you?
Mrs. Sharples, I haven't closed my eyes all night wondering what was the best thing to do.
I presume it's bad news.
Well, in a way.
I thought so. I couldn't see you coming over here hot put at the crack of dawn to tell me if it had been good.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Wouldn't you? I would, anyway. Come on.
Well, to be perfectly frank, Mrs. Sharples, I find the whole thing most distressing. But however unpleasant it may be, I've never been one to fail in my plain duty.
Well, if it's a bereavement, they'll have them boxed and buried before you get round to it.
No, it's nothing like that.
Well, I'm very glad to hear it.
It's just that somebody was bound to tell you, and to save you further unpleasantness, I thought it would be better that I should come round and tell you the plain, unvarnished facts. I mean, I know how easily the people around here will distort things.
Don't worry, nobody's beating you to it. The floor's all yours.
Well, after all, it did happen under my roof. If you want my opinion, Len Fairclough wants locking up.
Tom?
Well, yes, but I thought you said...
Well, it's either him or Minnie Colwood if it concerns me. And I can't see even Len Fairclough taking his belt off to her.
Mrs. Sharples, it was absolutely shocking. And I'm only glad that you were spared being present. The atmosphere. Well, even to think of it. It's cost me a great effort to come here this morning, Mrs. Sharples. A great effort.
Oh, I swallowed the breakfast that quick she all but choked herself. Couldn't get round there fast enough, she couldn't.
Oh, I wish I'd been there. Trust me to miss out excited.
Well, it's just as well you did.
Well, what did Tom Schofield say?
You women are all the same. You thrive on it, don't you? You positively thrive.
Well, there's no like a good bit of gossip you've got to admit.
Oh, providing it's not malicious, which most of it is, I reckon.
Hey, why don't Len Fairclough like Yanks?
He's got reasons of his own, and anyway, it's no to do with us.
No, but it's interesting, isn't it?
Ah, well, what have you got on today, young lady? French?
No, geography. Hey, do you wonder if it's anything to do with Elsie Tanner? I mean, she used to go around with a lot of...
Just about finished your stint after that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done 26 hours to be exact. Only 5 3/4 to go and then freedom.
Hey, nay, it's not as bad as all that.
You're not doing the flipping exams.
Maybe you're right, love. Hey, I remember once when I was a little nipper,
Go on.
No, maybe I shouldn't. Mrs. Walker would only say I was setting you a bad example.
You?
Oh, me. I could be a little devil and all in them days, you know.
What did you do?
Well, it was this here test, you see. We didn't have no exams in them days. I mean, I didn't go in for the GCE and out like that like you. We used to have a little test at the end of the term. It was history.
Oh, don't you like history? It's one of my favourites.
What, all them dates and battles and all that? I could never get them to stick into me head. Well, that's what we're being tested on. Aye, and my dad told me that if I didn't bring home a good report, he wouldn't take me fishing with him no more. We used to go fishing in canal every Sunday in them days, regular.
What do you do then? Write them on your knee?
Hey?
The dates. One of the girls in our farm did that, only she did it in ballpoint. She had a heck of a job getting it off.
I hope you don't do things like that, young woman.
No, my gym slip's too short to show. Anyway, what did you do?
Well, I took a tumble in the playground when I was going in and I cracked on I'd sprained my wrist.
And so you got out of the test, cheeky monkey?
Ah, but it wasn't worth it. My dad wouldn't take me with him that Sunday. Said I couldn't go fishing with a sprained wrist. I've had a guilty conscience ever since.
Get a bear. I bet you were dead chuffed.
Well, although I say it myself, I put on a very good act. It were worth an Oscar to see me writhing in agony. Yeah.
Oh, Jack.
Hello, love.
Oh, I'll see you. Ta.
Ta.
Oh, Jack, if there's one thing I hate, it's being the bearer of unpleasant tidings.
What you want to go shoving your threepence in for, I don't know.
Jack, it was most distasteful to me. But somebody had to tell the poor old soul.
Oh, Mrs. Sharples. I'd never have recognised her from that description.
Jack, I had to steel myself to go. I had to nerve myself. Oh, what's the good? You'd never understand.
Barley heck. Strikes me I'm not the only one round here who deserves an Oscar.
Frater, don't you ever sit down.
Now, when there's work to be done.
Hey, what the heck's that smell?
Soot. Look. Take your choice. It always happens when curtains hit the water. Just look at the colour of that. It's black. You'd think they've been up for months, not weeks.
Why bother doing them now that you're going away so soon?
Look, everything of mine's got to be left clean, whether I'm here or not. People passing by have to look after them.
That's a point. I can imagine what some of the old biddies would say around here.
Yes, a bit of sharp tongue round here, I'll say that for
Not
them.
only around here, Great Aunt. Women are the same back in America, too.
I'm not particularly referring to the women.
Well, I'm sure the fellas wouldn't lose too much sleep over whether or not the curtains were washed as often as they might be.
Then Fairfoot's a loud-mouthed fool, an ignorant, loud-mouthed fool.
Oh.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Well, it just means it was a stupid bit of nonsense, and I wish to goodness he wouldn't have heard about it, that's all.
I dare say.
Look, forget it, Aunt. I have.
Yes, you didn't say that when Lionel Petty was having a go at me.
Yeah, but that was entirely
You
different.
spoke up for me.
I did what I had to do, that's all.
Yes. Well,
Now, look, I have to have this passport form filled
I
out.
will never stand and watch anybody else blackguard it for no reason whatsoever. You being a relative's got nothing to do with it.
I know you wouldn't, Great Aunt, and I know you would weigh into any battle on the right side, and God bless you for it. But this didn't happen to be a battle. It never was. So let's just forget about it, all right?
He's still not going to get away with it.
Now, look, he was a little bit high, that's all. He didn't mean any harm.
No.
I've got a note of the yardage. I'll let you know as soon as it comes in.
Don't go, Miss Nugent. Sandra.
Yeah?
My blazer wants a button sign on it.
I'll do it later.
Never put off till tomorrow what you can do today.
You wanted something else, Mr. Petty?
Aye.
Well, naturally, if there's anything we can do, only it might be better if you came round to the shop and had
No, I didn't mean like that, Miss Nugent. I mean, I didn't want something from the shop, though, in a way, it has to do with the shop.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand, Mr. Petty.
No, don't blame you. Talking like a woolly-headed old woman. It's not like me at all.
I must admit you do have a reputation for being precise and to the point.
Aye, a bit too much to the point sometimes, I expect.
Beg your pardon?
What you must understand, Miss Nugent, it comes hard for a chap like me to go smarming around kissing people's boots.
Well, nobody likes doing that, Mr. Petty, I'm sure.
No. What I mean is, how do you get on in your shop? I mean, all this, the customers always right business. I mean, how do you get on?
It depends largely on the customer. If it's Mrs. Sharples, then it's best to assume that she is right. But most people are very reasonable, you know. Mrs. Lindley...
I'm not interested in Mrs. Lindley. She's in Canada. I'm running the shop now.
I was going to say, Mrs. Lindley always made a point of taking an interest in her customers. She always asked if their cold was better and if the new baby was coming along all right, that sort of thing.
Babies.
After all, in a way, that's why people still come to little shops like ours, isn't it, Mr. Petty? The cash register at the supermarket turnstile isn't going to ask about Grandma's lumbago, is it?
Well, what are we waiting for?
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Sharples. They're ready.
Well, they've had something to say if they weren't, seeing they were promised for this morning.
Oh, let me see. Yes. Here we are. Very nice, too.
There must be some mistake.
Mistake? No, I don't think so. Let me see.
The name's Sharples, not Karloff.
Ah, well, I suppose you do look a little serious.
Serious? I look as though I'm about to commit a murder. If you'd known more about your job, you'd have got me a bit more relaxed. I bet Lord Snowden wouldn't have had me looking like Dracula's grandmother.
Hello, Mrs. Sharples.
Morning.
Mr. Pegg, the paper said you want me to bring some props with me this afternoon.
Yes, that's right. Can you get hold of a football? Give it a bit of atmosphere, like.
All right, well, I'll fetch all my gear then. They want me in my togs anyway.
Yes, perhaps I'd have done better if I'd been done in costume. A yashmak, for instance. Good morning.
Is she a friend of yours?
Mrs. Sharples, is it? Well, I suppose so. She lives in our street.
Well, with her as a friend, you don't need any enemies.
No, it won't be this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too sure. Not if Harold Wilson sees wind blowing it right direction.
Well, I sincerely hope it isn't this year. I find general elections far too unsettling. Just got used to one Prime Minister and then you've got to begin all over again with another one.
She makes them sound like charwomen or something.
Ah, for my money, they're just the same. I wouldn't like either job.
Well, I don't know how you are for scrubbing, but I don't think there's any danger of you getting to the job.
I mean, they go mad to get in, and when they get there, what have they got? Now they're worry and trouble. It's just like marriage. Smashing on the way up and not so up when you get there.
I simply cannot agree with you, Mr. Ogden. That's a very cynical thing to say.
He didn't mean it.
Who said I don't?
Well, I'm with Stan. I wouldn't have a politician's job for love nor money. Being stuck up there, held responsible for everything, from Dad losing his job to the handle coming off the lavatory, Jane.
Really, Jack, all I was referring to was Mr. Ogden's attitude to love and marriage.
Well, I'm right. You ask any married man.
Eh? Not me. I'm keeping off that one.
Ah, well, that's a relief. I'm glad to see you're all arguing as usual. I was beginning to think for a minute that there was a bug going around.
A bug?
Ah, well, old Petty's been bitten by Summit. He's been asking after Titch.
Oh, Petty?
All interested all of a sudden. I never knew he even knew I had a whippet. He's never asked before.
Oh, well, that he's stocked up with dog food and he's trying to drum up for custom.
Now, Albert, where's your faith in human nature?
I never had none.
You have, haven't you, love?
I've what, love?
Faith in human nature.
Aye, well, it's as my old granny used to say, you can't trust anybody these days except me and thee, and thee's a bit queer and old.
Cynics, the lot of you. What's become of all the sweetness and the light? I'm just saying, Mrs. Sharple, standards have deteriorated, don't you agree?
Well, if you're talking about common politeness and good manners, I couldn't agree with you more. Look, come in there for a minute, will you? I want to have a word with you.
Well, do you mind if I get me drink first?
All right, suit yourself.
Right, I see you being got at.
Aye, all that curly-headed pal of yours. Not that he doesn't deserve it, mind.
He does get a bit above himself now and then.
Cut off his nose to spite his face, the steaming great nit. We had a good night. How did she know about it? She wasn't here.
Well, there's always somebody glad to spread a bit of gloom and despondency. Oh, you want Lucille, love?
If she's in.
Yeah, up in the bedroom. She left a message you was to go up.
It's all right, I'll find it.
Well?
Sit down, save your legs.
I'm not his keeper, you know.
Oh, so you know what I want you for.
Well, I've a good idea, yes.
Well, you may not be his keeper, but you are one of his closest friends, and at least you've got some influence over it, which is more than anybody else has.
Go on.
Well, I presume you know what happened in here last night.
When was he here, yes?
Well, I don't mind telling you, I'm thoroughly disgusted with him. Thoroughly. Tom isn't. He doesn't take it seriously, he just thinks Len Fairclough had too much to drink. But it's not the beer talking. It's like he is beer or no beer, a big, daft, soft-spoilt child who calls everybody a bit better off and cleverer than he is. Jealous is at the back of it. And if he's not very careful one of these fine days, he's going to waken up in a back entry beaten black and blue, and I, for one, am not going to worry very much. There, and I've got it off my chest. Well, and you're going to spring to his defence?
No. Why should I? I agree with everything you've said.
What are you doing?
I'm supposed to be revising, but I'm not. If I don't know it by now, I never will. Hey, have you ever tried these things?
No, I think you've either got what you need to attract your man, or there's no use trying, is there?
Can you tell?
Hey, get back. You're making a draft.
It'd be all right. They only want trimming off.
Dare you to try them for Monday?
What's Monday?
It's my birthday. My dad says I can have a party.
Oh, smashing. I'll just be ready for letting off a bit of steam by then.
Who's coming? Well, you are, I hope.
No, I mean men.
Oh, I thought you'd have some ideas in that direction.
Oh, yeah, I've lots of ideas. Unit 4+2, Jean Pitney,
Oh,
Wayne
you're a lot
Fontana.
of help. I hope your eyelashes come off in the middle.
Middle of what?
Middle of whatever you're doing. Seriously, though, who are you suggesting?
Well, who've you got?
Only one definite. B's the most important.
Oh, don't tell me. Let me guess.
Oh, I can just see us, cheek to cheek in the lamplight, and PJ Proby in the background, getting him in the mood.
Hey, has he definitely said he'll come?
Dennis? No, but I'm going to make it so he's got no option.
I want to talk to you.
Yeah, help yourself. It's all right, I've had some.
I said I want to talk.
Good, you're just in time for my afternoon siesta. We can curl up on the couch and you whisper sweet nothings into me ear.
I'm serious, Len.
So am I.
You haven't been in the Rovers all day, have you?
I'm sorry, Your Worship. I didn't realise it was compulsory for me to go in every day of the year, every day of my life. But ignorance of the law is no excuse, so I duly plead guilty.
You haven't been in the Rovers because you're too ashamed. You haven't got the nerve to face them in there.
Who's ashamed?
You are, and if you're not, you're flaming well ought to be.
What, for saying I don't like Yanks? Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I do not like Yanks.
So that's why you picked on Tom Schofield.
I'm not picking on him. I don't know the fellas, he's all right. Where they go? I don't like the way they come over here spreading their money around as if they own the place, but it doesn't own me for the kick-off.
You're jealous.
You what?
I said you're jealous.
Of that, of a Yank?
Being a Yank's got nothing to do with it. It's what he stands for that bothers you.
Why all this sudden concern for Tom Schofield, anyway? You cradle snatch it, don't you?
Oh, you! Look, it's you I'm bothered about, not him. Enid Sharples is right in what you said. You're still too much of a damn daft kid to see it, that's all.
Elsie, look what
Look, you can't have it both ways, Len. You had your chance to be a big man and you turned it down.
You mean with Willie Piggott? Well, he's not the be-all and end-all, you know.
Yes, Willie Piggott or anybody else, you turned it down. You made the choice to stay here. All right, it was your decision. Fair enough. Nobody forced you. Nobody made you. But just remember this, when you come across another young lad who's trying to climb up the rung of the ladder a bit farther than you chose to stay on the bottom rung. You did.
I'll make you a soapbox when I got 5 minutes, Elsie.
Yeah, you do that.
Hey, Elsie, you sure I can't tempt you? With the pickles, I mean. Hey, what about this Tom, what's his name? Do you think he's the kind of fellow who'd accept an apology?
Here we are, Mr. Tedlock, all present and correct.
You know, I was just wondering if I should hire one of them armoured vans to see I get safely home with this.
Oh, it doesn't look a lot, does it?
Didn't a lot.
Still, I suppose you mustn't grumble.
Why mustn't I?
Oh, what I mean is you've got your health and strength. You're able to get about a bit, be a bit independent-like.
Now, look, I'm a burden to nobody, and I'm not going to be.
Ah, it's just what I'm saying. Still, I know how difficult it is to manage, so if you find that you're running short towards the end of the week, you've only got to mention it, you know. I think we can arrange a bit of credit.
Well, thank you very much, but I don't believe in getting into debt.
I'm only trying to help you.
And I'm not a charity case.
Now, look here, Tattock.
Hello, Mrs. Caldwell.
Oh, hello, Mr. Tatlock. Oh, dear. Who's upset, Mr. Tatlock?
I don't get it. I just don't get it. You try and be a bit more friendly like when you get a smack in the eye.
Well, what did you say to him?
Offered him credit.
Just like that?
Well, how else? I thought I was doing him a favour.
Leave solution till it becomes powdery and then brush off. I think that'll go powdery enough.
Oh, is that where I drip the ice cream on you at the Luxie?
Well, you will have it on sticks. Why you can't have a tub like me, I really don't know.
Oh, I've just been into Mr. Petty's. I didn't buy anything,
Oh,
though.
it's all right there. You go and shop there if you want. I've seen a lot of people going in there lately. Right bit of price cutting going on in there. Might go there myself when I come back if he still keeps it up.
Oh, I thought you was boycotting him.
Only till he learned to behave himself, which he seems to have done. Let's see who that
Oh,
is.
yes, seen him. Oh, it's the doctor.
Well, get out of the road and let him come in.
Just come to check on that eye of yours, Mrs. Sharple.
Oh, yes, thank you. Well, look, I wonder if you'd authorise those for me while you're at it, will you?
Yes, of course. They hardly do you justice, do they?
Don't quite know how to take that.
There we are. Now, let's have a look at that eye. Uh-huh. That seems to be all right. I'll be checking on your vaccination in a few days' time. I'll have another look at it then.
Oh, Doctor, while you're here, I wonder, would you mind? Only it's this pain, you see. It keeps coming on when I move my arm.
Is it troubling you now?
Well, no, it's only very occasional. Only I thought it might save you time if you'd have a look at it while you're here.
It might save you time, Mrs. Caldwell. But if I stopped to examine everyone who consulted me just because I happened to bump into them, I'd never get round to visiting all the people who are really sick, would I?
Oh, no, I never thought of that.
That's all right. Look, pop into my surgery this evening if it's really bothering you. I'd be glad to take a look at it then. Good night, Mrs. Sharple.
Good night.
You'll not break into the pin-up world with those. Good night, Mrs.
Good
Caldwell.
night, Doctor.
He fairly put you in your place, didn't he?
Oh, well, I suppose he was right, really.
He's not a bad lad. It does make a difference.
What does?
Going private. Only did this yesterday. Comes round today to see if I've dropped dead in the meantime.
Oh, I don't think that's got anything to do with it. He's a very friendly man.
He's only being friendly because he's paid for it. Do you think he'd have had time to make little jokes about my photos if I'd queued up for 3 hours on the National Health?
You can change behind this screen here.
Oh, it's all right. I'm not modest.
You might not be, but it only wants to take some blushing young lass to walk in here asking about her wedding photos, and I'd soon be out of business.
Right.
So, turning journalist then, are you?
Oh, only sort of. No, they more or less pressured me into it, the local paper. I told them I wasn't very much good at writing.
Aye, well, it's your name they're paying for, lad, and your professional opinion. Anybody can lick it into shape for you.
Oh, aye. If it suits them, it suits me. That's all extra bunce, isn't it?
I sometimes wish I could find myself a nice little sideline to this racket.
Anyway, I should go. I've always got my brainy brother to tell me where to put the full stops and commas.
What I really fancy is aerial photography. You know, swooping down in a whirlybird over the Mato Grosso. Something with a bit of adventure in it.
Aye. Well, if I were you, I'd stick to babies and knobbly knees. It's safer.
Is it? You don't have to deal with the Mrs. Sharples of this world. Stay where you are, lad.
Right.
Oh, excuse me.
Isn't Tina in yet?
I haven't seen her, Mrs. Colwell.
Oh, well, I'll wait then. Oh, can I have a milk stout, please?
Yes, of course.
Oh, good evening.
Oh, good evening.
About this morning, I shouldn't have shot my mouth as wide as that.
Oh, it's all right. I didn't think no more about it.
Oh, all right. Well, what do we have then?
No, let me. I wouldn't dream of letting you
Oh,
buy me
Mr. Petty, I think you should. Mr. Tatlock has offered.
Aye, of course. Well, I'll have half a mile then, and many thanks to you.
Half a mile, please.
Mrs. Sharples is late, isn't she? Then I expect she's got a lot to do getting ready.
Oh, there's no rush. Tom's no idea when he's going. It may be weeks yet. But anyway, the doctor's been in and done a vaccination, so that's one job over.
By heck, I've had a few of them jabs in my time and all. I've got more holes in me than a colander.
Did you say the doctor came and did it, dear?
Oh, well, she'd had a bit of eye trouble, you see, and so Tom insisted she went private.
Well, I'm against that. It shouldn't be allowed. There should be no distinctions.
Now, why shouldn't them that can afford pay for it? I don't agree with you.
Oh, I do. Stan's dead right. I mean, what's the point of having a national health service if everybody didn't belong?
I always go privately, you know, unless it's just something trivial. Gives me more confidence somehow.
Because you pay for it, you want special treatment. Well, we can't afford it.
You're all wrong as it happens. It's got nothing to do with paying or not paying.
What then?
Or whether you're looked after properly or not. Do you know what the blight on the health service is? I do. I've had enough experience in my time. It's these malingerers, shirkers. They're the ones that's filling your doctor's surgeries, wasting their time.
How many of them are there?
Oh, a few, but enough to do the damage. But there's no quarrel between the doctors and the patients. It's this little lot where they're wanting notes for this, that, and t'other every 5 minutes. They're the ones that put the spanner in the works.
Hello, Mr. Walker. Oh. See, I hope it's okay. I'm expecting an important telephone call. I had them transferred in here.
Yes, of course. We're always glad to do anything to make our visitors from abroad feel welcome.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Mrs. Turner.
I believe you had a good night last night, did you?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
I bet you didn't go to Jackson's, though, did you?
Jackson's? Is that a pub?
No, it's a Chippy. Yeah, chip shop.
Huh.
Best chips this side of the Mersey, there.
I'll have to try it sometime.
What about tonight?
Well, I'm free.
Oh, great. About 7 o'clock?
Right, see you then.
Oh, fine. Mind you, I don't just go for the chips, you know. I go for the fish as well.
And my dad says it's okay and I can help myself from the shop and he'll foot the bill. So what do you suggest I get?
Well, you don't know how many for, do you? Hey, was that the phone?
No. Anyway, I wrote to some of the girls and I said, would they reply as soon as possible?
Oh, I do hope Roger can come. I've left a message any road. Are you sure that weren't the phone?
It's not. Hey, supposing no one turns up except you and me and Roger and Dennis.
We'll complain.
Not me.
Oh, I wish I didn't have that dratted last exam in the morning. I could have done with all day for beautifying myself up. You know what I need is a new image. Hey, have you ever thought of having your hair cut? You know, in one of them dead short cuts, you know, all fringe and eyes at the front and no to the back.
You do it, I dare you.
I'm seriously considering it, you know. Hey, it is the phone.
Mr. Schofield? Mr. Schofield, it's your telephone
Oh,
call.
thank you very much, Mrs. Wells. I'll see you in a minute. Excuse me.
Oh, hello, Ina.
Hello, here. How are you fixed for going shopping tomorrow morning?
Where, the market?
No, town. I'm going to treat myself to a new coat. I can't get this stay now.
Oh, dear, that's my fault. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's best and I can afford it. Never mind.
Hey, are you two going to town in the morning? I can give you a lift if you like, you two girls.
Very, very kind of you, but I think we'll go on the bus. Buses is friendlier.
It's all right. Between him and Tom.
Eh? Oh, well, thank you very much. We'll accept your kind offer. You call round about 9:15. And don't be late.
Oh, it weren't him. Oh, he'll ring this time yet. Hey, do you think I could chance one of them dresses with holes in for my party?
Depends where the holes are.
Oh, you know what I mean. Bits cut out of the arms and that. Hey, they're dead gear. Trouble with me is I ain't going shopping on my own. I never know what suits me.
Oh, I'd rather it. Oh, it used to be awful when Concept used to come. She'd not got a clue.
Oh, still, you're lucky, though. You've got a mother.
She's not my real mother. She's my stepmother.
I haven't even got one of them.
Ah, she's all right, Conceptor. I've got on with her better, you know, since I've got more mature. You know, when I see her holidays and that.
Perhaps it'd do him good if he did have someone else to fuss over beside me. I'll have to see if I can fix him up. Do you know anyone?
For your dad? Oh, do me a favour. We've enough trouble sorting our own love lives out.
Sorry. There was Harvey Lewis, you know, the guy that works at the airport.
Oh, I.
It's great news. He managed to book us 2 seats on a jet to New York.
How thrilling. Well, when does that mean you'll be going?
Well, that's just it, I'm afraid. It's going to be a bit of a rush. We leave for America in just 4 days' time.
Yeah, 4 days? Wow, that's great. Oh, that's it. Well,